Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, depending on where you are in the world and what time you are viewing this. This is From Dina's Desk. Welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for joining. And as always, I am here on Tuesdays, 12 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on LinkedIn and right here on Facebook, talking about another topic that would help you to elevate your career. And this week's topic is going to be, is there a cure for boredom in the workplace? Is there a cure for boredom in the workplace? And you may think that's a strange question or kind of an odd question to ask, but I'm asking it because it's a very real question. It's a very real question. It may not be something that you are experiencing now or have experienced, but some people have. I know I have. I know it's a very real thing for me. I have experienced boredom in the workplace. And so I want to examine that question. I want to examine basically when you're bored in the workplace, what can you do? What can you do to get over the boredom hump and to get yourself back on the path of being excited, right? Because whenever you first got your job opportunity, you were probably excited. More than likely, you were excited about the opportunity. You were excited about the work you would be doing. You were excited about the company. You were excited about the things that they were going to be doing and what you were going to be working on. And just like everybody else, you have different feelings. Feelings come and go. You're human. And somewhere along the line, you got bored. So I want to talk about some suggestions. I want to talk about what you can do. So the first thing that I want to suggest when it comes to being bored in the workplace is to be honest about your feelings. Be honest about whatever it is that you're feeling. And if you're feeling bored in the workplace, then no shame, no judgment. Be honest about that. Say that to yourself, right? Because you want to have a conversation with yourself about this. I'm feeling bored in the workplace, right? And I want to encourage you to take just a deeper dive and pull back some of those layers and really, really get clear on what is it. Not just I'm bored, but I'm bored because I'm not being challenged. I'm bored because I'm tired of the monotonous task. I'm doing the same thing. I've been doing the same thing every day for the last four years. Or I'm bored because maybe I need to learn something new or find a different spin or something to put on my job, right? So I want to encourage you to really get clear on whatever it is that you're feeling, what is at the root of those feelings, what is at the root of your boredom, and to really, really, really get clear on why, right? And just know that whatever it is that you're feeling, your feelings are valid. Whatever you are feeling, your feelings are valid. No shame, no judgment. If that's how you feel, that's how you feel. Your feelings are valid. So don't feel bad about that. Don't beat yourself up about that. And don't allow anybody to beat yourself up about it. Whatever you're feeling, it is valid. But also keep in mind that your feelings come and go. Feelings are feelings. That's coming from a place of emotion, and they come and go. So one day you may be feeling bored in the workplace. The next day you may not, right? You may be feeling one particular way 1 month, and then the next month it may be something different. So I want you to keep all of this in mind. And that's why I'm saying I want you to have an honest conversation with yourself. And I want you to really examine how you feel, what the root of it is, where it's coming from, and why you feel the way you do. Okay, there is no right or wrong answer. So just keep that in mind. Okay, so the second thing when we're talking about having a cure for boredom in the workplace is to discuss this with your immediate supervisor. Discuss how you feel with your immediate supervisor. And I know you may be saying, no, wait a minute, Dean, I was with you until you got to the point about, telling your supervisor, because it can be a scary thing, right? Because you don't exactly know what the outcome is going to be. You don't exactly know what your supervisor's response is going to be. But whenever you really, really, really get clear, like I suggested in number 1, that can help you have a more candid and honest conversation with your supervisor. Now, of course, I'm not suggesting that you just go and say, I'm bored, right? You're going to have to be a little bit more creative, and you're going to have to be a little bit more strategic with that, right? You're going to have to put some thought into it. And so, like I said in the beginning, this is coming from a place where I've had to do this before, so I'm not a stranger to this. And when I reached out to my immediate supervisor after careful consideration, after giving a lot of thought, I came up with, something that, I wanted to say that worked for me. And basically what I said was, whenever you hired me to do my best work. You hired me to be able to give 100% every day and to come to the table, doing my best work. And I don't feel like I'm able to do that anymore. I don't feel like I'm able to do the high quality work that I'm used to being able to do. And I basically want to discuss what some options are, right? And I said that. I was able to say it logically. I was able to say it without any emotion because I did what I suggested in number one. I really thought about it. I got to the root of it. And I was able to say that, very confidently to my supervisor. And just to kind of let you know how the story ended, within 1 week, 1 week after I stated that to my immediate supervisor, I went into the area that I wanted to go into. I was able to move somewhere else. And so therefore my boredom was ended, right? So of course, it may not happen quite like that for you, but the point is have a plan, know what you want to say, remove all the emotion, think about it, have a conversation with yourself, and you want to be creative and you want to frame it as if I'm here for you. I want to do what you hired me to do, and I'm just feeling like I'm not able to do that, right? So you want to think about that and be able to discuss it. And then your supervisor, of course, may be kind of taken aback. They may, maybe didn't see it coming. They doesn't really know how to process what you're saying, and that's to be expected. So they may say, okay, thank you for sharing this with me. Let me kind of think about it or something like that. And let's talk about it a week from now or something like that. Or they may say right away, okay, Michelle, okay, John, you're telling me that you'd like to do something different and you don't feel like you can do your best work. What did you have in mind? And that's where number 3 comes in, having a plan. You want to have a plan because you're the person that's bored. And if you're bored in the workplace and you're going and talking to your immediate supervisor about it, you want to have a plan, right? Because it's going to be for you to alleviate your boredom. And so you want to think about some different options. And one of your options may be to stay in your current role, but maybe just do some upskilling. And you may just say, I really enjoy what I'm doing, but I really just would like to learn a different way to do it. I really just think it would be helpful if I can learn some better trends, some best practices, and just kind of learn some of the things that are, taking place in my industry. So is there an opportunity for me to upskill? Is there an opportunity for me to use some professional development dollars, maybe use some of the, team budget to be able to, go to a professional development conferences or events or enroll in a class or something like that, right? And you may want to have to take time off of work because of this. Because again, you have your plan. So maybe you've done your research and you know that there's a certification that you want to get. It may be a 10-week class and you're going to get certified at the end of the class. And maybe the class is on Wednesdays at 3:00 from 3 to 6, right? Every Wednesday. And so you may want to say, I'm interested in this class. Here's the information. And as you can see, the class starts Wednesdays at 3. Would it be okay for me to leave every Wednesday at 2:30, stop working at 2:30 so I can have time to go to my class, right? That would be your plan to upskill and your plan to try to alleviate some of this boredom, right? So that could be an option. Or maybe you want to upskill, get this professional development so you can take on some additional duties. And so since you are working on the team, you know what the goals are. You know what the organizational goals are. You may know what's coming down the pipeline. So figure out how you can align your upskilling and your professional development with something that they are already trying to do. So maybe you want to take on some additional duties or do something different within your current role so you can help with the organizational goals, okay? Remember, I said be creative with your approach. So it's very important that you think this thing through. Or maybe you want to stay in your current role and maybe you just want to switch up your schedule. Maybe it's just a schedule that's not quite working for you. If you're working, traditionally Monday through Friday, 8 o'clock to 5 o'clock, maybe that's not quite working for you. Maybe you want to work 10 to 7 because maybe you want there's something different that you want to do in the mornings and you just want to, come in a little bit late. So you still want to stay in your role. You still want to, do what you're doing, but maybe you want to switch up your schedule. Okay, come in some different hours. Or Maybe you are 100% working from home, like a lot of people, but maybe you're ready to get back into the office. Maybe you want to work more of a hybrid schedule. So you want to stay at home maybe 3 days a week, but you really would like to come in, right? Because you're maybe getting bored at home and you want to come into the office and maybe work more of a hybrid schedule. That could be an option that can, that can help. You'll be surprised how just physically changing your location, just, leaving your house and coming into a job, coming into the office every day can help. So maybe that's it. Or maybe you want to reduce your hours. Maybe you were working 40 hours a week and maybe you want to go down to 30 hours, or maybe you want to go down to 20 hours because maybe you found another opportunity that you're interested in, right? Again, number one, I said, be honest with yourself. What is the source of your boredom? Why are you feeling the way that you're feeling? And so that may be, I like working here and I want to stay in my role, but I really want to reduce my hours so that I can go do something else. And that may be a conversation that you have to have, right? Or another option when we're talking about this plan is maybe you want to move to another team. Maybe it's just time for you to do something different. I want to transition and I want to move to a different team. I've been on this team for 5 years. It's been, great while it lasted, but I really think I want to move over here to this department, or I want to transition to another location. I'm working here, in the northern location. Maybe I want to work on the south side now. Maybe I want to work downtown now, or maybe I want to move to a completely new city and state. I want to stay with the company. I really like, working with the company, and I still believe in the company values and where the company is going. But I've just decided it would be best for me and my family if I could transition to another city and state, right? Because you've already looked at the internal positions. You already know something that's available, and you are having a conversation with your supervisor, asking if maybe they can recommend you and help you to transition. I've done that too. Been there and done that as well, right? I expressed that I wanted to stay with the company, but I simply wanted to transition. I already knew the job I wanted to apply for, and my then supervisor called that supervisor at that location. And before I knew it, within about 2 or 3 months, I was able to transition within the company. So that's where it goes to having a very candid conversation, not being emotional, really thinking it through and really being able to communicate. It can go a long way, okay? Now, whenever you are talking about this plan, you're getting your supervisor on board with it. First of all, you have to give him or her some time to process. Because like I said, they're probably going to be caught off guard. They maybe didn't know you were feeling this way. And, of course, they're going to have to possibly replace you or something like that. So you want to give them some time. And I would realistically expect like a 90-day transitional plan. Give yourself and give your supervisor 90 days to come up with whatever the plan is going to be. If you're going to transition, if you're going to reduce your hours, if you just want to take on some additional, responsibilities or whatever that is, give your supervisor 90 days. Be realistic. Don't expect these things to happen overnight. I gave you an example where I was able to switch pretty quickly. I was able to switch within 1 week, but that was a little bit outside the norm. That's probably not the norm. I would say 90 days would be a good time frame to realistically think that you can move from where you are to the new role or how your new role is going to be formed and shaped. Give yourself about 90 days, okay? And one other thing that's very important whenever you're talking about this plan, make sure you're asking questions. Make sure you're asking questions. Don't make a lot of definitive statements. I want to do this. I'm going to do this. You're asking questions. Is it a possibility? I wanted to see if this option would be viable. Would I be able to? Does this work for the team? Would this work? What is the best way to make this work? So even though you have your plan in mind, I've learned throughout my career, you can get a lot farther with people if you put it in a question format. You may already know 100%, I'm going to reduce my hours, and this is something I have to do for me and my family, or, for my mental health or what have you, but you put it in a question format. What would it look like if I reduced my hours to 30 hours a week, and 1 day a week I went and did something else or whatever, right? Put it in a question format. Try to ask questions and try not to make any definitive statements when you were talking about this plan. Okay, so that's the third thing that I've talked about. The fourth thing is I would suggest that you find ways to kind of spice up your personal life. Kind of spice up your personal life because, sometimes you're bored because you're really bored in your personal life and it kind of trickles over into your work life. That's a very real thing. So, we're all going through a difficult time right now. It's uncertain times. We're all stuck in the house for the most part. And, you may just be feeling bored in your personal life and it's kind of trickling over. Definitely if you're working 100% virtual and your home and your work life have merged and you really don't have any kind of separation between the two, one could be trickling over into the other. And so when you do number one, like I suggested, have that honest conversation about yourself, you may realize it's not really work, it's really more me and it's my personal life. So maybe the fixing or the change or the plan needs to happen in your personal life. So keep that in mind as well, right? And you may need to just kind of spice things up on that side. You may need to develop a new hobby. You may want to join a new organization. You may want to, take some salsa dancing lessons. You may want to start doing community service, something like that. Do something in your personal life that can get you a little bit more excitement. And once you get excited in your personal life, then maybe it'll trickle back over into your work life. And it can kind of help you get over these feelings of boredom because it can do you a world of good sometimes to have something to look forward to once you get off of work. If you are working 8 to 5 and at 6 o'clock you have your salsa classes, then that sometimes, can kind of help you get through the day. I've been there and done that as well. Okay. So think about, again, what is the real root cause? And it may just be, I need to switch up some things personally, make those changes and see if that helps you cure your boredom in the workplace. And then lastly, the fifth thing is unfortunately, to cure this boredom, it may just mean that it's time for you to make a total transition and you may have to find another job. It may just be that time to say, you know what, I've been here. It was good while it lasted, but it's no longer mutually beneficial. It's still benefiting the company because I'm showing up every day. I'm doing what I can. I'm still doing my job. I'm still working with stakeholders. I'm still making our clients and our customers happy and I'm tending to their needs, but I'm just not happy. And after you try to talk over a plan with your supervisor, maybe it just wasn't viable. Sometimes it just can't work. Sometimes things just don't work. And so the option for you to cure your boredom at this particular point may be to find another job and it may be to do something else. And it's perfectly okay. It's perfectly okay. Right? And I just want to kind of encourage you before you start looking for that other job, again, that conversation with yourself, get real clear on what you're going to be looking for. Get real clear on what is it that I want at this particular point in my career? Why am I bored? So that when I start interviewing for these other positions, when I start researching these other companies and these other positions, I'm clear on what I want. So I'm not right back here this time next year. I'm not here again in 2 years, right? And then whenever you're interviewing, you want to make sure you're asking questions. What are some of the things that they do to make sure that there's a balance between work life and home life? What are some of the things they've put in place for work and life balance, right? You may ask them, how do they feel about professional development and people being able to grow, have an opportunity for growth? You may ask them about their company culture. How are they with having a flexible schedule? You may ask about the management style, all of those type of things. Anything that may be a concern, you may want to ask that if and when you decide that the only cure for your boredom is to just seek another employment opportunity. Okay. So that has been the 5 different suggestions that I want to give for you to cure your boredom in the workplace. And I definitely would love to hear from you. So if you have any things that you have done, some things that have worked for you in the past, when you've been bored, when you've had a conversation with your supervisor about what you want to do at this particular point, I want you to drop that in the comments. Drop it in the comments or send me a DM, or if you'd like to discuss this even further, I'm always open to any comments and suggestions that you may have. So that has been this week's edition of From Dina's Desk. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for participating. Share this with someone if you think it'll be helpful and beneficial for them. And I'll be right back here next Tuesday, 12 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time with another topic that can help you elevate in your career. Take care. Bye-bye.